Tamble thought, "I wish I knew what the good of all is, and I wish I could know what my heart's desire is." When he was next in his room, he sat upon the horse, turned the knobs, and thought, "I would like to find my heart's desire." More swiftly than light, the horse rose into the air and carried the Prince 1,000 ordinary days away to a far kingdom that was ruled by a magician king. The king, whose name was Kahana, had a beautiful daughter called Precious Pearl. In order to protect her, he had imprisoned her in a palace that wheeled in the sky, higher than any mortal could reach. As Tamble was approaching the magic land, he saw the glittering palace in the heavens, and he alighted there. The princess and the young horseman met and fell in love. "My father will never allow us to marry," she said, "for he has commanded that I must marry the son of another magician king who lives across the cold desert to the east of our homeland. He wants to unify the two kingdoms by this marriage, and no one dares to disobey him." "I will go to him and try to reason with him," said Tamble, mounting the magic horse. But when he descended into the magic land, there were so many new and exciting things to see that he did not hurry to the palace. When he finally arrived, the drum at the gate was beating, which meant that the king was absent. Tamble asked when the king would return. "He has gone to visit his daughter in the whirling palace," said a man on the street, "and he usually spends several hours with her." Tamble went to a quiet place where he willed the horse to carry him to the king's private apartment. "I will approach him in his own home," he thought to himself, "for if I go to the whirling palace without his permission, he may be angry." When he got to the king's apartment, he hid behind some curtains and lay down to sleep. Meanwhile, unable to keep her secret, Princess Precious Pearl had confessed to her father that a man on a flying horse had visited her and wanted to marry her. King Kahana was furious. He placed sentries around the whirling palace and returned to his own apartment to think things over. As soon as he entered his bedchamber, one of his tongueless magic servants guarding it pointed to the wooden horse lying in a corner. "Aha!" exclaimed the magician king. "Now I have him. Let us look at this horse and see what manner of thing it may be." As he and his servants were examining the horse, the prince slipped away and hid in another part of the palace. The king twisted the knobs, tapped the horse, and tried to understand how it worked, but he was baffled. "Take that thing away," he said. "It has no use now, if it ever had any. It is just a toy fit only for children." And so the horse was put into a cupboard. Now King Kahana thought that he should arrange his daughter's wedding without delay in case the man with the horse had other ways to win her. So he called her to his palace and sent a message to the other magician king, whose son was to marry Princess Precious Pearl, asking that the prince be sent to claim his bride. Meanwhile, Prince Tamble escaped from the palace when the guards were asleep and decided to return to his own country. His quest for his heart's desire now seemed almost hopeless, but he said to himself, "If it takes the rest of my life, I shall return with troops to take this kingdom by force. I can do that only by convincing my father that I must have his help to attain my heart's desire." So saying, he set off. Never was a man worse equipped for such a journey. An alien traveling on foot, without any kind of provisions, facing pitiless heat, freezing nights, and sandstorms, he soon became hopelessly lost in the desert. Delirious, Tamble blamed himself, his father, the magician king, the woodcarver, even the princess and the magic horse itself. Sometimes he thought he saw water ahead of him, sometimes fair cities. Sometimes he felt elated, sometimes incomparably sad. Sometimes he thought he had companions in his difficulties, but when he shook himself, he saw that he was quite alone. He felt that he had been traveling for an eternity. Suddenly, when he had given up and started again several times, he saw something right in front of him that at first looked like a mirage. It was a garden full of delicious fruits that sparkled and beckoned him to come closer. At first, Tamble did not take much notice and continued walking, but soon he realized that he was passing through such a garden. He gathered some of the fruits and tasted them cautiously. They were delicious. They took away his fear as well as his hunger and thirst. When he was full, he lay down in the shade of a huge, welcoming tree and fell asleep. When he woke up, he felt well enough, but something seemed to be wrong. Running to a nearby pool, he looked at his reflection in the water. Staring up at him was a horrible sight. He saw a long beard, curved horns, and ears a foot long. He looked down at his hands.